Hey everyone, Katie here from Thrift Your Heart Out, and today I'm coming to you from my floor. I thought it would be kind of fun to do a little bit more of a laid back video for today. So we are sitting in front of my couch and bed here. I've got this big old window behind me, so there's tons of light coming in. So I apologize if it's a little bit funky, but I just wanted it to be a little more chill, a little more relaxed for today, because I'm going to be doing a big Q&A video. I thought it was about time that I get this to you guys, especially because tomorrow is actually my 2-year YouTube anniversary. So I thought it was kind of perfect timing. I want to share some things with you guys. I know you're curious about a few things. So let's just jump in. I'm actually really excited for this. I'm just so excited for this video. I've just been like waiting to do it. So I am such an organized nerd that I actually wrote everything down in my little YouTube notebook that I keep. Just because I wanted it to be like nice and laid out and easy to reference. So that's what we're gonna just jump right into right now. So the very first question, and this is one that I got from many people, was what is your best or favorite thrift find? And hands down, like without a shadow of a doubt, it has to be the Diane von Furstenberg wrap dress that I found at Half Off Day at Goodwill. I could not believe my luck when I found this dress. I was shopping with my mom. I think it was some kind of holiday, maybe 4th of July or something. And we were just kind of looking through the dresses and this print just caught my attention. So I pulled it out and lo and behold, it was a DVF wrap dress in my size and a print that I was totally crazy about, and I scored it for only $4. So that's just something that will go down in history. I know some of you that have been following me for a while have heard about this dress a few times just because it's one of those things that you can't not share about that when I'm telling people how much I love to thrift, and it's just kind of that thing that I use to like get them to come thrifting with me. Like, if you can find a DVF dress for $4, who knows what else you can find. So the next question actually came from 2 different subscribers. It came from ThriftyMommy04 and the Cynthia812. And they both asked, what is the most expensive item you've purchased from a thrift store? So this is actually something that I found recently, and that would be my vintage Coach bag that I picked up at Midway Antiques. It stole my heart from the moment I saw it. It was $35, which is more than I think I've ever spent for anything at a used or recycled store. But I am so happy that I found that bag. I've literally been using it every single day since I found it a couple of months ago. So I was really happy to pay that amount. I think it was really reasonable for the condition that the bag was in, and obviously I'm getting my use out of it. But whenever I'm shopping, I tend to kind of set a threshold of $10 just when I'm regularly thrift shopping, just because that's kind of where I feel comfortable and where I start to kind of think about, okay, how many times am I going to wear this? You know, where will I wear it to? Is it something that I really love? So that kind of tends to be my cap when I'm shopping. But this was an extra special day and something that I was really happy to find, so I was happy to pay that $35 price tag for that beautiful vintage bag. So the next question actually comes from one of my favorite thrifters here on YouTube, and that's Thrift Shop Girl KT. So if you happen to be watching, hey girl! So she asked, what is your most worn thrifted piece, and what is your most unique thrift find? So to answer the first question, my most worn thrifted piece would have to be my leggings that I picked up at a clothing swap like 2 or so years ago. I literally wear those things to death. They're just so easy to pair with so many different things. You don't really have to think too much in the morning when you're getting ready. So literally I've like spilled paint on them. There's threads coming out, but I just can't stop wearing them. So I love those pants. So then to answer the next question, what is your most unique thrift find? That would have to be the lace shirt that I just picked up at Freestyle a couple of months ago. It just caught my eye when I saw it on the rack. I thought it was so beautiful, so stunning, so wonderfully put together. It just looks really high-end. But I happened to pick it up, I believe, for $11 from that store. And it's just one of those things that I know will be a conversation starter when I wear it, because nobody else has anything like it. It's totally different and it's totally stunning. So I have to say that's my most unique find. It's nothing too crazy, but it is a little bit out there and a little bit different from everything else in my closet. So the next question comes from Ansley Ann, and she says, what fashion icon or designer are you most inspired by? So I'm sure you guys can guess which fashion icon that I'm inspired by routinely, and that would be Miss Audrey Hepburn. She is just such an amazing person, such a fashion icon for sure. I mean, everybody can say that they're inspired by her if you're kind of into that classic vibe. But I just think that she's amazing. I've loved her since I was a little girl. So she is definitely someone that I pull inspiration from on a near everyday basis. So then favorite fashion designer would definitely have to go to Kate Spade. I have just loved that line since I was like a preteen, so it's been going on a pretty long time now. But I just love kind of the nod back to the classic style. The prints that they use, obviously they use a lot of polka dots, so that's right up my alley. And kind of the playful vibe that it has, all of the little quotes that they're known for, just make me giggle. I think that it is so cute, and if I could just scoop up everything that she makes, I would in a minute. So the next question comes from April Goldsberry, and she says, what is your favorite fashion magazine? So that one I just happen to have next to me. And it is People Style Watch. Oh my gosh, you guys. I find myself reaching for this like a million times in the month that it comes out. Like I have already read this one like 3 times, even though it's the most current issue, because I find so much inspiration in here. They talk about beauty, they talk about kind of real world budgets of how to pick up the trends at like Old Navy or Gap or kind of these places that are available to everybody. I was flipping through a magazine recently and they had a Michael Kors skirt listed for over $2,000, and it made me angry. I threw the magazine down. I got really upset because I just think that that is ludicrous. And I get that there are people out there that can totally afford that skirt, but for us everyday girls, like we need somewhere to go to get that inspiration and to actually feel like we can be rocking those trends without breaking the bank. So that's where I find People Style Watch comes in. I think they do it really, really well. It's really reader friendly, and it's just a fun magazine to check out. So if you guys haven't read it yet, go ahead and pick it up. The next question is from Laura Arteaga, and I hope that I'm not butchering that last name. But she asks, where do you get your style inspiration from? Magazines, Instagram, TV? So like the magazine that I just showed you, I definitely find inspiration there, but I also find myself checking out Instagram and just searching hashtags like gingham or slip-on shoes or something like that, and just kind of seeing what comes back, because you never know what you'll come across, and maybe people have totally thought of a different way to wear that item. So I love checking out Instagram. It's become such an obsession of mine. Another obsession is definitely Pinterest. If you guys don't have a Pinterest or don't know what I'm talking about, just do yourself a favor and start an account. It is such an amazing place to go when you just don't know where to get started, because you can search everything from like DIY decor to, you know, the latest makeup trends to how do I wear stripes? Like it's just a great place to get started when you're just stuck. So I love going there and doing the same thing, just kind of searching different trends, seeing how people rock them, seeing how I can kind of make it work for myself. So I love using Pinterest for getting inspiration. And then TV, I definitely find myself getting inspired by different TV characters. Definitely Blair Waldorf, like Queen Bee, hello. I have to pay my respects to her. I just wrapped up watching the entire series, I want to say a few months ago, and now I'm finding myself like getting the itch to watch it all over again. Like that's how much I love that show. But Blair Waldorf, like her style is just impeccable. It's amazing and something that I find myself getting inspired by quite often. Another show that I just started watching, and I think it's a very short series right now, is Barely Famous, and it's about David Foster's daughters, but they're in LA. And it's kind of a mock reality show, so it's really, really funny. But I love kind of that LA vibe and all the crop tops that they wear. It's kind of ridiculous the amount of crop tops that they wear. But it gets me kind of thinking of like, how can I do something like that for myself that makes it work for my body type? So I'll find myself just getting inspiration from lots of different TV shows and seeing how I can kind of incorporate it into my wardrobe. So there's kind of always somewhere to get inspired by. The next question comes from Alex B, or Bay. Is it Bay? If your last name is Bay, that's amazing. Okay, getting distracted. So she says, what is your advice for people who feel that thrift shopping is too overwhelming or too time consuming? So trust me, I get this question all the time. So I tend to just say, bite off what you can chew. Like don't let yourself get overwhelmed. I don't take 3 hours to go thrift shopping. I'll stop at Goodwill on my way home for 20 minutes and see what I can find. Like, just because you're going thrifting doesn't mean that you have to make it a whole day ordeal. So just kind of focus in on one section. So if you're in the mood for finding a dress, or you found inspiration when you were looking through Pinterest or something like that, and you found a dress that caught your attention, try to keep that dress in mind and just look at the section of dresses in Goodwill or wherever you're going to stop by. Because when you kind of hone in on that section and you look through everything in that area, you're more often than not going to find something that you really like, rather than taking on the entire store and letting yourself get really overwhelmed. So that's always my advice that I give to kind of people who are new to thrifting, and I hope it's helpful. It's definitely helpful for me because I do not have the time to spend all day in a thrift store, even though that sounds kind of awesome. So next up is a question from Brandy Pardo, and she says, when do you decide you want to thrift, and do you first take out some pieces you do not use as much to donate? So I've heard from a few other people that they do kind of a one-for-one system. So if they're gonna go out and buy something, they make sure to take something out of their closet that they're not using. So I totally love that idea. I think it's really great and works for some people. For me, I tend to just do kind of a monthly clean out of my closet and take stock of the things that I am really loving and the things that I just haven't worn as much and just don't think I'm gonna be wearing. So I'll usually have about 2 bags of things at the end of every month that I'm just like, I'm not really sold on these pieces. I'm not totally in love with them anymore. It's time to kind of share them with somebody else. Even though first I always take my pieces to a buy-sell trade store like Freestyle if you're in Sacramento, to see if they want to buy anything, and then I can use credit to get new pieces in their store. But if there's anything left over from that, that's when it gets brought to the thrift store. So that's always a good tip if you guys are kind of looking for, you know, replenishing your wardrobe, but you don't really have too much to spend. Just take whatever you're not into from your closet, take it to a buy-sell trade store in your area, or use an online thrift store, which I'll leave some in the down bar below, and see if they're interested in buying anything, because then it's no money out of your pocket and you'll get to score a new item. So that's something I'm always doing. So Susie Whitcomb asks, what's the average amount of times you visit the thrift store on a monthly or weekly basis? It's pretty often. I'd be lying if I said I only went once a week. That's just a straight up lie. I probably stop in at different thrift stores maybe 2 to 3 times a week. Is that bad? I feel like that's really bad. That's like a lot of times. But again, I'm not spending all day going to the thrift store, so when it's just 20 or 30-minute increments, it's not like I'm spending all of my time shopping. Even though that doesn't sound like a bad use of my time. I love to shop. So that's what I do. I'm not saying everybody else has to do that. Make it work for your schedule and what works for you. But yeah, I would say probably 2 to 3 times a week. So a question that I got again and again was, what inspired you to start making videos, and do you have any tips for someone who's just starting out? So like I said, it's almost 2 years that I have been making videos here on YouTube, and I think I was just inspired by watching other thrift YouTubers. I want to say one of the first ones that I saw was Thrifters Anonymous. And I mean, I've mentioned them before. They are just 2 of my favorite girls. I think they are awesome. Their spirit is so amazing. I hope I get to meet them someday. Honestly, they're just so cool. So I saw them sharing one of their hauls, which I had been doing on my blog, thriftyourheartout.wordpress.com, if you guys aren't familiar. I'd been taking pictures and sharing it that way, but I thought, I just got this camera update. Let's try something new. Let me just kind of see how this goes. So my first few videos, if you guys watched those hauls, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? Which, yeah, please feel free, go ahead and check them out. They're just a little awkward and a little stiff. I think I was standing in my very first one, so it just comes off very weird. But you just find yourself kind of getting more and more comfortable, and I think we are now at the point, I say me to all of you lovely people watching, that it just feels comfortable. I feel like I'm talking to my best friends. Like, you guys have become such an amazing part of my life, and something that I get, getting a little emotional here, that I get so much joy out of. And it's something that I hope keeps growing, and I can't believe that I'm almost at 3,500 followers. That's amazing, and something that I never thought that I would get to. So yeah, it gets me a little emotional. So if you guys are thinking of starting a thrift channel or any kind of YouTube channel, I say just go for it. Just do it, because yeah, it's a little nerve-wracking, and yeah, it's a lot of work to edit things, but it's something that I found so much joy in, and something that I wish that I could do more and more. But it's that pesky full-time job that gets in the way. But maybe someday that'll change. So I just say follow your heart and have fun with it. That's what this is all about. And slowly but surely you'll find your community and you'll find your people, and it'll become something that you wish you could do more and more, honestly. It's such a joy for me. Alright, so another question that I got from many people was, when did you start thrifting? Kind of a general overarching question here. And I would say that I started thrifting back in high school, very, very minimally. I actually volunteered with my sister over the summer at one of our local thrift stores here, and she actually worked at the store, so I would just kind of lend a hand every now and again. And I would come across pieces that I was just like, this is $5. Like, what are you talking about? That's amazing. Because this was back in a time when I would pop into American Eagle and drop, you know, $20-something on a shirt or $40 on a pair of jeans and just not think twice about it. I was kind of a spoiled brat back in high school, just a little bit. So I would kind of dabble in thrifted pieces. I want to say a few of my prom dresses were from consignment stores, because I always appreciated being a little bit different from everybody else, and that's something that is definitely carried through to today. I love having one-of-a-kind pieces that I kind of put the time and effort into finding. So that's kind of why I got started thrifting. But then after college, when the purse strings get very, very tight, that's when thrifting became a major part of my life. And now I would say that like 98% of my closet is thrifted, and I now almost exclusively shop at thrift stores. So it's just something that kind of grew over time, but now it is just such a huge hobby of mine and something that I love so much. So the next question comes from Judy Chapman, and she asks, are your family members thrifters as well? And like I mentioned, my sister actually used to work at a thrift store, so she's been thrifting quite a few years longer than I have. But my mom, we actually got kind of her on the bandwagon a few years ago, and she's been thrifting pretty regularly since then. So it's always fun when we can go shopping together, because it's nice to always get their opinion, and kind of it's just more fun to shop with somebody, so it's nice to kind of take them with me. My dad is not a shopper one way or the other, so he doesn't really count, but my mom and sister are definitely thrift shoppers for life. So JWorkingonmyFitness says, when you're not thrifting, what stores do you go to buy clothing or shoes? So I mentioned that my closet is probably about 98% thrifted. So it is rare that I'll go to a new retail store to go shopping. But when I do, I always like to check out Gap when they're having their additional like 40 to 50% off of clearance sales. I like to check out Kohl's. I think that the collections that they have over there are really cute, super affordable, and just adorable. I also like to go to Macy's, but I make a beeline like straight for the clearance section just because I know the stuff on the regular retail floor is going to be way out of my budget, so I'll usually check out the clearance section first. I also like Old Navy sometimes has some cute stuff. Forever 21 I'll go to, H&M I'll go to, again, when they have big sales going on, just because it's that stuff that's really on point and really trendy that maybe I just haven't had luck finding at the thrift store. So I'll usually check those places out, but it's really funny when I go into a new retail store, I get a little taken aback because it's like, wait, no one's worn this stuff before? Like, it's all new and it comes in like 5 different colors and I can actually choose my size? Like, what is this? So it's just funny to think that people who feel the same way about thrifting and get a little overwhelmed or taken aback, I feel the exact same way about the mall. I'm just like, whoa, I have all these choices? Like, that's crazy. So it is fun to go from time to time. I actually just did a little mall trip with one of my good friends, and we had a good time, and I bought a few things. Of course, they were all on sale. I will never buy full price, like ever, ever, ever. But I do kind of get a kick about going to the mall every now and again. So this Mom's Tale asks, what do you do for a living? And I know there's been some confusion on this in the past, so let me kind of lay it out for you guys. So I work at a nonprofit art gallery. I'm the education manager there. So that means that I plan all of the art programs, I manage all of the volunteers and interns, I curate one of the galleries that we have on site, and I'm the artist liaison there. So a big part of what I do is finding teachers for our programming, setting the themes for camps that we do, and sometimes it's teaching. So right now I'm teaching regularly at a school on behalf of the organization that I work at. So I think that's kind of where the confusion is coming in. I'm not a full-time teacher. I don't do this full-time. I wish I did. I do love teaching very much. But I teach art projects to kids K all the way through high school at the gallery that I work at. So I hope that clears it up for you guys. It's a job that I am so lucky to have. Living here in Sacramento, there aren't a ton of arts opportunities. So when I scored this job, I just ran with it. And it's something that I have come to enjoy very, very much and hope to keep growing with. Alright, so the last question is going to come from Crazy4, the number 4, Shuz. I don't know what that means, but that's their name. And they say, do you set a monthly clothing budget and how do you stick to it? I probably should make a clothing budget, but no, I don't. I tend to kind of bite it off in chunks. So if I go shopping on a particular day, I'll say, okay, I don't want to spend more than $20 at this thrift store or no more than $30. But I don't really have a monthly budget that I stick to. That's pretty terrible and I should probably work on that a little bit more. So it's more like small increments that I'll kind of try to stay within when I'm going shopping. But I do, when I do make those smaller amounts that I want to stick to, whether it's $20, $30, or $40, I stick to it. So if I'm not going to spend more than $40, you better believe I'm putting something back on the rack that I'm just not as crazy about, because I've said that that's my amount that I don't want to go over, and that's what it is. So you just kind of learn to let things go and get really excited for the things that you are bringing home with you. Alright you guys, so that is my Q&A video. I hope you enjoyed watching. I had so much fun answering those questions for you guys, and I hope to do a Q&A in the future for you. And like I mentioned, it's my 2-year YouTube anniversary tomorrow, so I just want to say thank you to all of you for subscribing and liking my videos and watching them and interacting with me. I just get such a kick out of this whole experience, and I love each and every one of you for being a part of it. And as always, thanks for watching and happy thrifting!